How many days till elk season? 30.
40. It was 47 last week.
Right. 40 days and 40 nights till elk season.
Yeah.
Okay, and it is episode 21?
Episode 21.
All right. Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, Season 2, Episode 21.
21.
We are the Chambers Brothers. My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And tonight on the Elk Season Podcast,
We've got bears, and more bears.
Grizzly bears.
Grizzly bears specifically.
Yeah.
We got some poaching, we got some fishing, and a little bit more. So stay tuned to figure out or listen in to everything we'll talk about.
But I want to start off with this incredible video that I have of grizzly bears running through a potato field.
Okay, tell me about it.
I have to get permission to use it because it's
Okay.
only one farmer removed. It's
All
only
right.
one farmer removed. I work out at a CrossFit gym. One of the guys I work out with.
That's right. You sent me that clip.
Is Tyson. Yeah, I
Yeah.
sent you that clip. That's not
Yeah.
from the internet. I don't know
No.
if anybody's published that yet.
Yeah.
So he's a
Oh, wow.
potato farmer. Yeah, he's a potato farmer. He goes, hey, I got a buddy who's also a potato farmer in eastern Idaho, where they grow a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, they
where
do.
A lot of McDonald's French fry potatoes are
Yes.
grown. And he sent me a video, and there's no mistaking. They're grizzly bears running through potato
and it's
fields.
more than one. That's what caught me.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I was expecting one.
Yeah.
But it was two, right?
Yes.
And I was like,
Which makes perfect sense to me, because I read all the books on biology, and because I'm reading this book too. But
Yeah.
the way I understand bear biology is that, and this book has been going into it, and we'll talk more.
and the book you're talking about is The Bear in the Driveway.
yeah, the grizzly in the
grizzly,
driveway.
sorry, the grizzly in
Yeah,
the driveway.
Bears are here, and they've been here, and they're no big deal.
Yeah.
Grizzlies are different.
Yeah, grizzlies are
There are
different.
more than 1,200 endangered species on that list. None of them ring like grizzly.
Yeah.
1,000 of them, 1,100 you wouldn't recognize.
Right.
But grizzly,
Yeah.
the hair on the back of your neck stand up no matter what side of the aisle you're on, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Grizzly brings a lot of
I'm
emotion.
going to start wearing a lot heavier gear. Kevlar. I think Kevlar hunting gear is coming.
Yeah.
And it's not for bullets.
Yeah, it wouldn't be for Grizz either. I have so much to say about that. I've learned so much about the grizzly bear just this week. and it's so funny because I'm reading this book and I'm just talking to a few people, but then somebody sends me a video. Hey, a buddy of mine sent me this video.
Yeah.
So my interpretation of these two grizzly bears is they're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've just left their mom.
Like juveniles.
They're juveniles. They just left their mom. When older big bears can assert their dominance, they assert their dominance in the interior of a landscape.
Okay.
They do not want to come in contact with humans.
Okay.
They don't like it. They are very solitary animals. As a result, the bigger and the
bear
stronger ones.
is my spirit animal. Sorry.
The bigger and the stronger animals end up on the interior, and the less experienced animals end up on the exterior in the interface with humans. So it's a learning curve for everybody involved, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I would interpret that situation in eastern Idaho. But they're experimenting. They've got to find food. They've got to find their own place. If their mom has finally said, "You're on your own.
Yeah.
I'm reproductive again. I'm going to go get some. You guys get on your own." This is the pouring over. This is
And now just think about that the next time you're sitting at a McDonald's
Yeah.
with your fries and just know that it's possible, and
Yeah.
it might be a bit of a stretch, but less likely every year,
very much so.
that a bear might have stepped on this tater.
A grizzly.
Not just any
grizzly
bear.
Yeah.
Grizzly bear.
A real grizzly. So here's something interesting. Somebody commented to me. I showed them the video of these two bears. I
Yeah.
go, look at these bears. They're running through a potato field. They're grizzly bears. Somebody said to me, did they escape?
Oh, so there's the bear country over in Rexburg. Is that
Our
what they're talking
perception is all grizzly bears are in Glacier, Yellowstone, or zoos.
And
that is just the perception.
Yeah.
Grizzly bears, if you see them, they've escaped.
Yeah.
They're in an enclosure. They're in Yellowstone. They're in Glacier. Or if they've escaped.
And to be fair, in Idaho, we actually have a literal bear zoo called Bear
Right.
World over by Rexburg. So I can't fault people for having that perception, but it also speaks to that what you're
Right.
talking about.
Right.
It's like
right.
it's
there's
skewed.
there's a very specific, and the person who said that to me was definitely thinking of Bear World.
Sure.
But in a larger sense, it's like bears don't have to escape from anything. That's the problem. That's what they're talking about with an ecological niche.
And I don't want to poke fun at this fabric because if a bear, pardon the expression, gets out and causes some harm to something or someone, how many more years before we have that video that shows up on the news somewhere and somebody's like, and it's going to be one of those tongue-in-cheek comments. They're just like, we're here at Yellowstone, but did this bear get out of its enclosure? Like somebody's going to say that
if they haven't
public.
already. Right. If they haven't already.
So with all due respect, I get it. Not everybody understands, the food they get at their grocery store comes from other places. But
when we talk about protecting different species, some of the interesting facts that the book Grizzly in the Driveway brought up were because this guy's a Montanan. This Cheney guy, was it Robert Cheney?
Yeah.
This guy, he's a Montanan, lifelong, born and raised, man. Right there in Whitefish, right on the edge of Glacier, right along the shores of what's it called, Hungry Horse Reservoir. He actually worked for Hungry Horse News.
Okay.
So he's a Montanan through and through, but he's also a reporter, right? And he asks really tough questions, and he makes some really, really fantastic points. And now he was talking about grizzly hunting. He's going through policies that they have in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Is that not just a mirror? Right? Is not just the longest mirror in the world is a border between us and Canada.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
How are they doing it? How is it working for them?
Yeah.
Right? So that's one place we can look. Another place we can look is the Netherlands.
Okay.
In Sweden and Norway, they have a really large, healthy population of grizzly bears.
Yeah.
And they have a hunting season.
Oh.
They have a very good hunting season. The growth rate on grizzly bears in the Yellowstone ecosystem and the greater Northern Divide ecosystem is 3% a year.
Okay.
In Sweden, with a hunting season, it is 15%.
Wow.
15% growth.
That's 5 times the size. Yeah.
Okay, I know you got to be saying, explain yourself.
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
What's going on there?
This
Sweden
is a
or Norway or whatever it was.
Fantastic ecological story. This is incredible. In Norway and Sweden, they say, okay, you can't shoot family groups. Okay? You can only shoot single individuals. Those 2 bears, off limits.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
So the bears in Idaho would have been off limits.
That's right. They would have been off limits. And as a result, cows or sows rather, sows understand if they keep their cubs with them longer, they won't be shot at.
Oh.
The cubs, as a result, learn so much more from mom. They're so much better at being reproductive when it is time to go out on their own. Hunting grizzly bears in this way has increased the population. Isn't that crazy?
That is remarkable. And I thought they had small brains.
Yeah.
They don't. I thought they just, would get hungry and get mad if they couldn't find food and then attack man. So that's what I thought a bear's brain would do.
Yeah. So there's another fact this reporter brought up. There's a few that he brought up. One of them was that the same year that wolves were delisted and allowed to hunt.
Yeah.
The same year, mountain lions outscored hunters in wolf kills.
Okay.
2-1.
Wow. Well, okay.
And just an interesting aside.
Yeah, imagine I can only imagine what that would be like. Wolves get a kill down, grizzly bear gets hungry, shows up to the kill, takes out a couple dogs to get his fill before he leaves.
Yeah.
So, to me it seems really simple for a grizzly bear to be able to kill wolves.
Yeah.
Particularly over, food. So,
yeah, and the wolves know better. They don't. And a lot of people are afraid of bears, and some of them should be, but not because they're offensive. They're not offensive tools. They're defensive animals.
Yeah,
they find a kill, They go like, "Oh, I found some dead stuff," and there's been footage, right? Grizzlies
Yeah.
just sleeping on dead things.
Yep.
This is my food. I'm sleeping here, and they need so
I've
many
done
calories.
that a time or two.
No comment. Hey, how do you think I keep my spam warm? Huh? It goes in the sleeping bag with me. So, so another interesting statistic that it's kind of messing with me. People talk about the wolves that were brought down from Alaska as being the wrong wolves for the wolf reintroduction program.
Yeah.
But they are genetically the same, and we've had this discussion.
Yes,
genetically the same.
A few podcasts ago.
The bears in the Netherlands are genetically the same as the ones in Yellowstone.
Oh, okay.
The ones in Yellowstone are grumpy.
Yeah.
The ones in Norway are not.
Huh.
They don't even record. They record injuries from bears over decades.
Okay.
Injuries, not even deaths, not even attacks.
All right.
Injuries. Genetically the same animal, but because they've had different human presence.
Yeah.
In Europe, they've just changed their temperament. They've changed their temperament.
What you're saying, if I'm understanding right, is that it comes back down to what we've talked about before: having a healthy relationship with our wildlife, making sure that we keep those boundaries explicit. We don't feed the bears, we scare them off. We don't feed the deer, we scare them off.
Yeah.
We keep that relationship healthy, and if you have certain practices, you can actually build that healthy natural barrier between wildlife and man. Right? Because the bears are going to just keep their distance.
And there's no evidence that hunting grizzly bears it gives any improvement to human safety at all, ever, anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't. I just found that fact rather interesting.
That is interesting.
Because
that just throws in the face of what I just said.
Right. Yeah, I know. And the same thing I've said before about British Columbia, because they shut down hunting grizzly bears up there.
Yeah.
Well, what are these grizzly bears going to do? Where are they going to go for food? Right? Where is the balance? Where is the balance going to happen? And I'm still waiting to see, but from what this reporter is saying is everyone's fine. Nobody's getting bothered. There's people in Banff all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And it's full of grizzlies.
And we're just now there are some reports of sighting grizzlies in different places, which was actually sort of spoken to in that book. I got to listen to a little bit of the book with you.
Yeah.
And they talked about, monitoring these bears and where they're going.
Yeah.
And so they said exactly where they're going, and then you see these headlines, and it's basically supporting that exact thing that they talked about. So the biology reported in that book, The Grizzly in the Driveway, is pretty sound.
He's a good reporter. He's a good reporter.
It's showing the evidence since I hung out with you last weekend. Which was remarkable to me. So, but that being said, how long has that been going on? How long did it take for us to have the sightings? Which tells us the bears are elusive. They don't want to have that interaction if they can help it.
Right.
Like most creatures, though, will be defensive if they're pushed into a corner.
So,
or if you try to take my meal.
So a couple of different things. So when we're not Norway and Sweden,
no,
and we haven't had humans have not had the same relationship with bears as people in Norway and Sweden.
Yeah.
That being said, and Canada, yes, the border is a mirror, and Canada does reflect, except the human population.
Right.
There's more people south of the U.S. border in Canada. You know about that?
Yeah.
In Toronto. Toronto is south. Most of the Montana border's clear up here.
Yeah.
Toronto's a little bit further south. More people live here than above that line.
Yeah.
Right.
There is a population of like 40 million.
Yeah.
And just in the U.S., it's 300 million. So I mean, the population is completely different, and it's geologically though it's kind of forced people to live in these hubs, and it doesn't really allow for a lot of expansion. So and
the attitudes and culture of America are different than the attitudes and culture of Canada.
What's that about?
So and out west, man, it's the rifleman.
Yeah,
it's out west. I watched one episode of Yellowstone. I think it was the episode of Yellowstone. I'm like, okay, I'm done. And it was in the first season, but the youngest son is attacked by a grizzly, and then saved by his father's hand, the best ranch hand.
Okay.
Saved by the grizzly attack, and then gets in a fist fight with the ranch hand. And I'm like, okay, this is just a soap opera. I cannot do this. Anyway, grizzly encounters are so incredibly rare.
Yeah.
And to just throw it in and then throw it away like that.
I was excited as a 14-year-old going into the Bob Marshall because I was sold on this trip in part because it's the largest grizzly area in the lower 48. Yeah. And so didn't see a bear. Barely saw a deer.
Yeah.
But just bad timing. It was June.
And it's hard. Bears don't like to be seen. They don't want to be seen. And especially in a big group of people.
Yeah.
Right? The one thing I've always worried about, and the one thing I read about every fall, speaking of elk season, is that normally during September, you are in very small groups of people and you are very quietly moving through the woods. Quietly moving through the woods with small groups of people, you could surprise a grizzly, and they are defensive.
Yeah.
They are powerful and defensive.
You said, earlier, grumpy.
Grumpy. Yeah, the grizzly bears, American grizzly bears are grumpy. So, the Latin name,
I don't.
Horribilis. Remember the guy always was saying it in the book.
Yeah.
He was saying Arctis horribilis or whatever.
Yeah.
The end is horribilis. It's not the same in Sweden and Norway.
Ah.
It's not the horrible bear. It is the grumpy bear. It is the horrible bear out west. Gotcha. It's a different monster. And Meriwether Lewis wrote in his journal, he would rather face 2 Indians than 1 bear.
Wow. And that was one of the tales from Tough Trip Through Paradise, Andrew Garcia's depiction of him and his wife, who was she was Nez Perce.
Oh, okay.
She was killed by a flathead.
Oh, okay.
But they had a grizzly attack their camp.
Wow.
In one of his tales, and it was just
unprovoked. If you're a grizzly bear and a camp has certain things, and a camp has calories. How many calories a day does a bear need? Do you remember that stat? 20,000.
I do not. Oh, geez.
20,000 calories a day, and it is on a mission to get those. You ever seen that? That meme, like, be a crackhead, right? A crackhead doesn't wake up today going, "Yeah, I hope I get high today." No, a crackhead wakes up every day and go, "I'm going to get high today. I just don't know how." Right?
Yeah.
You need to be a crackhead. You need to wake up every day. That's how a grizzly bear wakes up. I wake up every day. I'm going to eat today. I'm going to eat a lot today. I'm going to find something to eat, and I'm going to swallow it all. And that's what all those bears do in the fall. They eat for up to 16 hours a day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I got these, Dad.
Those are Crocs? Who gave those to you?
How do you know?
Oh. Well, can you let me and Uncle David finish?
Are you going to start over?
No. But you have to leave, otherwise I will have to start over. Will you shut the door, please? Yeah. Thanks. All right.
Cameo.
Yeah.
I was trying to find that story just to see if I could quickly get something as you were talking. So I'm not seeing it. I see one thing that's labeled bear here, but it doesn't.
Yeah. So the campsites, and I've also read recent articles on bear bags. On bear bags aren't really effective.
Oh, yeah, the hanging them up in the tree.
Yeah.
I've wondered about that. I mean, it makes sense to at least get it away from you, so the bear isn't attacking you on your camp. Wait, I need to slow down.
Yeah.
In what way are they not effective?
I know. Exactly. I don't know. If I always thought, gosh, if there's something up a tree and it's not that far up a tree, bears are pretty resourceful, right? You got to get that really up a tree, and you got it set up on a tripod so you can still reach it. Are you crazy?
Yeah,
bears are going to get that. Second of all, bears are they're opportunists, right? They're going to be like, okay, well, there's food here. Let's go check out the tent. Let's go check out everything else, and they'll start going through stuff. So yeah, I don't know about the bear bags. But this book is really fascinating, and it talks about, will hunting be allowed back in the Intermountain Northwest? And I believe it will, although I don't. So here's another really interesting thing. I'll say this one last. Sorry, I gotta. Gotta check the clock. I don't have my glasses. I left them at home.
Oh, we're at 21 minutes.
Yeah, thanks. Another thing that they talked about was the fact that you could go to a gun show in America and for $1,000 you could buy a grizzly bear claw necklace.
Huh.
That shouldn't be.
Okay.
That shouldn't be. You shouldn't. I don't think you should be able to sell your elk antlers ever.
Okay.
Elk hide, right?
But
This is how Canada does it. If you
Okay.
want to kill a grizzly bear, fine. We keep the paws and the skull and the hide.
Okay.
So there's no reason to hunt unless you're just hunting for the meat. There's no prize.
Gotcha.
There's no, what do they call it? Trophy.
Yeah.
There's no trophy hunting. Well, I'm sorry, but men have been trophy hunting for 10,000 years. They really have.
And maybe longer.
And probably a lot longer. Here's the problem. Here's what I think the solution should be. No buying and selling of animal body parts.
Okay.
I get a grizzly bear, I either have to give that hide away or you got to throw it in the garbage.
Okay.
There's no...
So what does that do to shed hunting and the sale of those? What does that do?
Well, the animal's still alive. You haven't harvested the animal.
Okay.
I got a low battery. Hold on.
That's a longer cord. I bought a new
that's right. It is
super long cord.
Super long cord. Just give me a couple minutes. I'll get to the end of it.
It was 50 cents. And I was like, that one that you had before was all like broken and old. So
Oakley dokley. So that's another angle that needs to be looked at because the trophy hunting, I should know more about it before I talk.
well,
but
starting the conversation, it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So agreed that more. So at this junction, it's just like, well, we need to gather some more data.
Yeah.
Look at some more evidence. Think of some, what all the different angles to it because there's a lot to bring up and look at.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to antagonize you, but I just
no. Okay, one more. Do you remember Cecil the Lion?
Yes.
What do you think about Grizz 399? How would people react to Grizz 399 on somebody's wall?
So
Yeah.
let me one way that I think about this is that, well, this bear had a number, not
Yes.
a name.
Yeah.
And the anthropomorphizing of Cecil the Lion
Yes.
rings differently than saying bear 399. So if we had Ethel the
Yeah.
bear,
Yeah. Who was shot and put on somebody. Okay, make it Ethel.
right? So but particularly though, if the animal was prized by a community, which was supposedly Cecil's issue, right? So
Oh yeah. 399's got more fans than I do.
So it's one of those things like I think people would be upset, but because there's no official name, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying we should name the animals because we shouldn't. If you have
Right.
livestock that you harvest for meat, don't name them. It's much harder to eat that steak.
What if they're delicious?
Pinchy would want it
I
this
gave
way.
them the most delicious names.
Pinchy would want it this way. Anyway, I don't know. That's just my perspective. There's a lot
Yeah.
more angles to it, of course, but
Yeah.
just I think
The grizzly bear issue is such a big issue. Such a big and a cool issue. It's so neat.
Yeah.
Man.
I all I can think of are those cartoons from Disney where the bear becomes the carpet rug so he
Right.
can hide from the hunter,
Right.
and the hunter's like sleeping on him and he's rolling up in the live bear, but the bear's like, I just don't want to deal with you. And then all the bears
Yeah.
cleaning up the camp. It's like
Yeah.
it's just all that old fodder.
Yeah. And bears are neat. Bears are cool.
They're
And
stinky as hell.
I've said it for decades. That the reintroduction of wolves will help us regain the ability to hunt grizzlies in the West. And I know I don't know if you've heard me say that before.
I think you have.
I've said it decades before. I said it when I lived in Montana more than 25 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, this
You say that now.
Well, I'm
just kidding.
Well, you can see the big picture coming together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not crazy. It's not well, if you only shoot family groups, the mom's going to stay with the cubs longer and they're going to be more reproductive by their time. Nobody sees that coming.
No.
But as a kid, you go, "Oh, you're not allowed to hunt those anymore?" What do they eat? They eat carcasses like the ones wolves bring down? Okay. Well, that's gonna be helpful. Yeah. I mean, right? That's to me. That's as simple as I put it.
It seems like a logical step. We talk about the active management of predators, and active management of predators can be other predators, right, in the ecosystem. That
one more thing. One more thing from this book.
I keep firing your neurons. Apparently,
this book. So predators have a pecking order. Grizzly bears pick on black bears.
Okay.
Grizzly bears pick on black bears. Oh, what are you doing? What you in my territory? Okay. Black bears and pick on wolves.
Okay.
Or let me skip the black bears. So grizzly bears pick on wolves. Wolves pick on coyotes.
Okay.
Coyotes pick on foxes. Wolves don't pick on foxes.
Huh.
That's too far beneath them.
Wow. I didn't know this.
Grizzly bears don't pick on coyotes. Right?
Okay.
Because the grizzly bear comes back in, starts pushing the wolves around. Wolves don't like it. They start pushing the coyotes around. Coyotes don't like it. They start pushing the foxes around. And the fox's main prey is a mouse whose tick spreads Lyme disease.
Wow.
Boom. Keystone species.
Yeah.
Boom. Just mic drop that.
Yeah.
I mean, the effects from a grizzly bear, taking it from a grizzly bear to a tick and Lyme disease.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is not just crazy. A friend of mine, I can't say his name, from the gym, younger guy out in the South Hills, has Lyme disease.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, he saw the tick on his back, and he went to the hospital. His wife's like, check him for Lyme disease. They're like, we don't have that here, and she's like, please check him, and they checked him, and he has it.
Yeah. Oh.
And so he's fighting that, and it's
a tough one.
Oh man, I'm terrified of it. I didn't think it was out here. I really didn't.
Yeah,
people say Lyme disease in Idaho. I go, you're lying.
I think
show me.
I think something I remember, and again, this is a really loose thread of a memory.
Yeah,
but it seemed like Lyme disease moves north as climate's warm.
Yeah. Well, it's
or something like that.
It needs to move west. It's already farther north than we are by a lot, but it's way over east.
Yeah.
It was way out in the east.
And maybe
so there's something with that ecosystem.
That was a conversation I had 20 years ago, and so I have really no bearing. I shouldn't have brought it up. I should think first before I open my mouth. But
nah, don't bother. It's a podcast. It's okay.
Yeah.
If you want clarification, just stick around. We'll talk about it.
Talk to your Google Bard.
Have we said it's 40 days and 40 nights?
40 days and 40 nights.
40 days and 40 nights.
It's
baby.
right around the corner.
We had a great. I think I'll be done talking about the book for now.
Okay.
I want to move on.
It's a good book. I'm really enjoying hearing about it because I don't have to read it.
I am captivated. Just that ecology story alone is like, what?
Well, and if I can,
Yeah.
before we wrap up that book, the fascinating details of the dangers of riding a mountain bike in the wilderness.
Oh my gosh. I have pitched that to you I don't know how many times trying to get you to bite.
And
I'm not riding a bike in the woods.
we rode bikes in
Montana Grizzly country, baby.
At Canyon
Yeah,
Ferry.
we
So
did.
we've got pictures, of our pride and joy of hanging out on that tree that we had. So anyway, but I think differently now after hearing that.
Big time. There's something about the quietness of a bicycle and the speed that looks like such a great prey to not just grizzlies, but all bears. Bears love
and
bicycles.
other large predators, I would imagine.
Beats, bears, bicycles.
Yeah.
Wait.
Crazy enough is that I saw a mountain biker come around a corner on a video. So I watched this fail army stuff.
Yeah.
We listened to that book, but
Yeah.
that morning I was watching this video and this guy came around a corner and a bear came out on the trail in front of him and he's like yelling at it, and the bear's running away from him. But that could very easily be the other way around.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
In fact, they talked about the gentleman who was out biking.
Who crashed, yeah.
He crashed and was killed.
Yeah. He
wasn't killed by the bear.
He was crashed and injured from the bike wreck, but he was killed by the bear.
Yeah.
Anyway, fascinating book, Grizzly in the Driveway. You want to get caught up on grizzly stuff, man, grab that book. Grab that audio book if you got to drive out west.
Yeah.
It's a good 10-hour book. So I think I got less than 2 hours left.
Oh.
And I was listening to it this morning doing the dishes.
Yeah.
And
so
making dinner.
40 days and 40 nights till Elk season. I've talked before about, and I don't know if I've talked on the podcast this much, but my September this year looks even more squished than ever before yesterday.
I know.
And so yesterday I get in the mail a summons to jury duty during September.
Oh, jeez.
And so I'm like, I kind of just have to take it.
Sorry, Judge. I forgot to tell you, September's off limits.
I mean, there's a place where I could have written that in. But I don't want to tempt fate, and I don't want to be held in contempt.
I know.
So I just kind of like grin and bear it. And it's civic duty I'm happy to do, but did it have to be September?
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. If I get on a good case, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I mean, if it's interesting.
But I'll get out when I can. It might only be overnight weekends.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. I feel really good about any time we get. We got really close. We got really close to some elk this weekend.
This weekend, amazing.
Yeah.
Small group of about 12.
Yeah, we didn't hike till after sunrise too. So we're doing good.
We got out later than we wanted to,
Yeah.
but we still saw some amazing out. We set 2 cameras.
Yeah,
And excited to see
had a good hike.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day.
Yeah, it was a little bit warm towards the end, but it still wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't scorching like I was worried about. Not like when we went up there the last time. We were actually up there to retrieve that water bottle, but that would have made the hike excruciating. And so we called it, and it was called on behalf of my son Bram, who's like, you know what, Dad, I don't think I'm going to make it. And it's like, all right, we'll call it. Which, he made it easy.
That's okay. Yeah.
And so we'll maybe it's there, maybe it's not. It just an accidental water bottle drop, and maybe it still has cold water in it. If it does, that's a testament to that water bottle. So it is insulated. Just saying.
The famous Dead Sea Tupperware. Still
good. Right. So, but anyway, that's not where you were going with that, but I thought I'd just throw that out there. It just kind of is what it is for me this September.
And I know it is. And it is every year. It is every year. And we try to get out. We try to get set days out. And I'll try to get set days out. And I know you're I know you're good for Labor Day weekend, right? Just at least 3 days.
At least the 3 days, because of the whole. I've never done jury duty before. In fact, truth be told, every time I've been summoned for jury duty up until yesterday, I have been moving I'll have moved.
Oh,
so I've called the courthouses every time. So one time it was from Lincoln County, one time it was from Jerome County, one time it was from Twin Falls County. Right before I moved to Pocatello, I got summoned to jury duty. So I called them up. I'm like, you want me to be there in March? Do I need to come up from Pocatello for that? Because I'm moving next month. And they're like, nope, you're good. And I was like, so I don't know. That's just how I asked it. But so I got this in the mail, and I look at Vesa and I go, are we moving? Are you not telling me something?
Yeah.
So sadly, I'm not. Well, I'm happy to do my civic. I don't want to get the wrong message. I've got to do my civic duty. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not moving. I have had private conversations. I will not divulge with whom, about our wishes that no one close to us dies in September, because we don't want to miss elk season for a funeral. So I don't want to say any names, but I'm just saying I've had that conversation. Oh. Well,
anyway,
it's fair.
So elk season is just important.
I hope I get on a poaching case. that would be
hang them. Hang them. I'm kidding. You're off the jury based on this podcast. All right.
Oh,
so
crap. Yeah.
You know what? We could call this the Intermountain Northwest Conservation, Ecological Conservation Podcast.
Yeah.
But Elk Season Podcast just flows better.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately, all the things we talk about stem around our love and desire to get out and experience elk. And part of their life are all of these other things in their ecology, from bears to wolves to nobody else saw it, but I saw a coyote up there.
Yeah.
At the plateau. It was running up.
That's crazy.
And it just
never seen a coyote up there.
Nah, neither have I. Big old bushy tail.
Yeah.
Coyotes have that tail. It's unmistakable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, foxes have a tail too, but no. A coyote's tail is like long and just full. And I was like, what the heck kind of tail? Oh, that's a coyote. How about that?
Interesting. Cool.
So, all right. So where are we at? We doing articles, or did you have something else?
We're good. Yeah. What's our timestamp?
Our timestamp right now is 35.
Oh, we're solid. We're solid.
good.
We're ready to get into the grizzly bear in the driveway. Or you want to just keep it on grizzlies? I know I got 10 grizzly stories.
I've got the grizzlies right
Okay.
here. So that's just the first thing that came up. Grizzly tracking its roadkill deer across the highway.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the need to have grizzly bears and having them around and having the opportunities, but the world is a funny place.
Yeah.
And people will see more and more of this kind of stuff and get up in a furor about it. That's a concern I have.
That's an 80% chance he's dragging that off of Highway 93.
Yeah.
That's a majority of grizzly bears killed from highways. Most of them are killed on Highway 93, not around Yellowstone. Highway 93 towards Kalispell and Missoula, between Missoula and Kalispell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and a lot of vehicle interactions. Now, those interactions are happening for a couple of reasons, and you've seen the overpasses like between here and Wells, Nevada.
Yeah, yeah.
So we just need some more of those because that not only keeps it keeps roadkill off the roads, which is going to keep the bears off the road,
but it keeps humans safer too.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean that's
a you run into a bear
and the animals. I'm not going to say that the animals know why it's there, but they get it. They'll use them. They start using them almost immediately once they're up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Trail cameras posted on a fence next to a riparian area caught both predator and prey: grizzlies, lions, elk, bobcats, mule deer. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like people with their cameras out. I like my trail cams. I like pictures of wildlife, and I like good stories. I like it when they put them on they have them on a pond. They get them on a log crossing a river or something. There's a lot of really good places to put a trail cam, and a trail cam tells a cool story.
Yeah,
we see deer, we see moose, and we see mountain lions.
Yeah,
and elk.
Yeah, that. Did you say bear? Because you got a couple.
I did.
Bear
Yeah,
one time,
yeah.
So I was thinking about that when we were placing those cameras this weekend because I think I even told Bram, I go, over there we got pictures of bear, and over there we got.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot. It's really interesting because we have a new location for one of those cameras. Cautiously optimistic of what it will get.
I know, me too.
But based on the elk
that
you have video of last year.
Oh my gosh.
If there was one reason
it's
to put
in their living room.
We were right there where I was like being stubborn about chasing elk last year.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm kicking myself over that, but you live and move on.
Hey, that's all right.
Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Park staff have confirmed grizzly bear sighting in the North Hills and Grizzly Gulch near our hometown, Helena.
Yeah.
That's something you found.
Yeah, that's called Grizzly Gulch. Grizzly Gulch. We grew up going up Grizzly Gulch. You go up Grizzly Gulch. If you leave Helena, you go up the what's called the Last Chance Gulch Road.
Yeah.
You'll go up a place called Unionville and Grizzly Gulch and Park Lake and Remini and Clancy.
Been miles and miles in there with you.
Those are all my old elk haunts.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
So some of them, there's a few more on the other side of McDonald Pass, but just the number of of grizzly encounters at McDonald Pass, is astonishing. So anyways, it's interesting.
Grizzly Gulch returns to its true form.
Yeah,
in that regard. Go to sleep, tasty campers.
I just added that. I added that for fun. I just wanted to. I just like the cartoon. Go to sleep, tasty campers.
Grizzly on I-90 between Bridger Bangtails and Sheep Mountain.
Yeah,
man, they're just impressive to see.
Yeah,
and out in that open field like we had listened to,
and that's I-90, right?
Yeah,
that is.
Yeah,
lots of people are going to see bears. It's Interstate 90 that connects Seattle, Chicago, and New York. Interstate 90.
So, I love this next one because of the Grizzly in the Driveway book.
Yeah. I just saw this today. Today. And I made my wife listen to a part of that book too.
Yeah.
And I showed that to her. And it takes a second to process. But you have to look at it, you go, what am I even looking at here? And it's a receipt from a UPS driver. It said, sorry, we missed you. I really wish I could have got your package to you, but there was a blank spot. What's it say?
Yeah, so there's a place that the driver can write in a more specific reason why they couldn't deliver it. And it says, Bear in Driveway.
Bear in the Driveway. The Grizzly in the Driveway is the book I'm reading, and Bear in the Driveway shows up.
I think all I responded when you text that to me, I said, just, whoa. Like, it's just uncanny.
So much happening.
Like the book talked about, the grizzlies moving back to the prairies.
Yeah. So this is a really interesting part of this book is when you say we are going to protect this one of these 1,200 different endangered species.
Yeah.
On the endangered species list, we mark out a square footage of habitat. Right? Grizzly bears don't have a square footage, don't even have square mileage. The territory is so big. If you were to restore grizzly bears, and we joke about California.
Yeah.
I mean, they want them back in California. California's on the list.
Okay.
But they're more likely to have grizzly bears in California than they are in North Dakota. Because of the attitudes of Californians and North Dakotans.
Yeah.
So we have that disparity that's working. But grizzly bears, you say we want to restore the ecosystem. Well, grizzly bears were also in Texas, Oklahoma, right?
Everywhere.
Kansas, Nebraska, right? North and South Dakota. They were all over the place. And in California. And so that's a lot to think about because I don't know what a grizzly's territory would be on the plains. I don't think any of us know.
None of that was captured.
Yeah.
One of the things, though, and I don't know if there's any detail, but I thought of this earlier when we were talking about perspectives and attitudes and all that. Where do we bring in native tribes to be a part of this conversation?
They're already part of it.
Because I just haven't heard that.
They're absolutely already part of it. Yeah. So he's talking in the book about all these different agencies. Your screen shut off. All these different agencies, and so the agencies have effects on each other, like the grizzly bear has effects on ticks. Right?
Yeah.
It's almost dumb. So when let's say something happens and a grizzly bear attacks somebody in, let's say, Twin Falls County.
Yeah.
Okay. Twin Falls County sheriff has to get on that. Twin Falls County Sheriff, Twin Falls Police, right? The county sheriff is the one that's probably going to have to address that. Well, a grizzly bear in Twin Falls County, well, we better get some state officials in on that.
Sure.
So some bigwigs who don't know anything about the Magic Valley,
right,
start marching down here and giving orders. Well, then what happens? Well, the Secretary of the Interior, oh, what's going on over there? Oh, it's a news story. Oh, yeah, let's get everybody. And now this poor person was out on a hike.
Yeah.
Is now at the center of this attention, this national attention. And meanwhile, we have to address the tribes. But how much of a voice do they have? Well, it's a lot larger than you might think.
Okay.
It's a pretty
that
heavy
actually
hand.
Makes me feel good.
It does make me feel good. It's a pretty heavy hand, and they know how to wield it pretty well.
Good.
So they are involved in the conversation, and it's unfortunate that, let's say I'm hiking here in Twin Falls County, I have an interaction with a grizzly bear, and I have to kill it, and somebody in South Carolina, next time they vote, right, their vote impacts whether or not I can do that again. Right? Wow. I mean, there's such a divide between my life and what I need out west. But it is America's wildlife. That grizzly bear belonged to Americans.
Yeah.
All Americans.
Yeah.
And so it's a very complicated story. One that the Elk Season Podcast has been following from day one.
Pretty much. From
day one. I've been following for years. I love the story of the grizzly bear and of the wolves, and of the elk as well. And so we'll just see.
Yeah.
We'll just see how far these grizzlies go, and if hunting is allowed, and if trophies are allowed to be taken. Because a grizzly bear necklace, I mean, I don't know. Would I put in for a tag? I don't know. If I did, would I kill a bear? I would. I've always wanted to go to Alaska and hunt a bear. And it's a huge industry for them.
Well, up in Alaska.
I know.
It's different up there.
It is. But if it's similar enough down here, why couldn't I do it down here?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. And I know, I tell people I love the wolves and I would shoot one. And all of them want to shoot me.
Yeah.
Pick a side. We're at war.
Goodness.
Anyway,
Helena, as she was.
yeah, this is just a cool story. I think I saved the article below. The woman had a jewelry shop.
Yeah, a little button shop.
A button shop, and used antlers and stuff to make buttons. And she just was there for like 47 years or something.
1948 to 1970.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's...
And she's got stacks of antlers, of shed antlers outside her shop.
I always wonder about places you see like that, but they're out
A
there.
button maker.
They're being crafty.
Somebody had to make buttons, David. Of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course they did. Where else would you get buttons? From the button guy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we don't think about those things. But
Yeah.
that's just a neat story.
Grizzly in the driveway, roadkill, was that anything?
Grizzly in the driveway. Yeah, that was roadkill was about Highway 93
Oh,
and
okay.
how they're killed. I don't know how many accidental screenshots I take on my phone, just
Gotcha.
turning it on and off.
Right.
It's in thousands.
Colorado hiker finds 3 mummified bodies.
Yeah.
What's that about? I didn't come across this story.
I don't know. Keep reading.
At a remote campsite, authorities are trying to determine what caused the deaths of 3 mummified people found in a remote campsite near Gunnison last week.
Oh.
Was this an accidental screenshot?
No. That's hunting, camping. That's Colorado.
Yeah.
That's elk country, man. Wow. I guess I don't know. Maybe that was it. I think that might have been in from last week, and I forgot to send it over. And so much has happened in the past week that I forgot.
Yeah, that's crazy. But since we're in Colorado, I got a Colorado one for you.
Okay.
A poacher who left a moose to rot, caught on trail cameras from multiple hunters who had cameras in that area. So they actually were able to pinpoint this guy's time of death, the moose that is.
Good, yeah.
And there's a picture, and he actually was from out of state, and he was hunting illegal. Well, he's a poacher, but it's just.
What state?
I think he was from Wyoming, but he was hunting down in Colorado.
Oh,
And it's just like, and he's got a bow, and that's what really grinds me because we're bow hunters, and that's like, no, stop it. You are caught. And you know what?
all right.
Just misdemeanors.
All right. Oh,
It's all just
really?
misdemeanors.
Oh, that's a bummer. Well,
frustrating.
hopefully he loses hunting privileges in his home state.
Hopefully, and but
Well, maybe Kanye moving next door to him.
I shot that moose. I don't want it. I'll just walk out of here. He's just got a smug look on his face. I'm irritated. But speaking of moose, now people doing things that maybe they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Let's go to British Columbia.
Okay.
This has to do with moose as well.
Okay.
In this case, a gentleman is fired from his job after saving a moose calf on the highway. The moose calf was running from a bear.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And so he took pictures of this moose in his car, and he drives it to the Canadian
What a
Division of Fish,
dummy.
Wildlife, and Parks.
Oh, what a dummy.
Is a former official, if I remember the right. So he worked for Park
Oh, my
Services.
gosh.
Anyway, so it's like, no. There's so many things wrong with that. If you get caught by the bear, if this animal doesn't like being in your vehicle, your
my
truck with you. I mean, it's just, there's so many things. And he's sort of paraded on this, and I don't want to speak ill of the guy. I don't agree with
go
his
ahead.
choice, but he's got pictures with this moose calf as if it's like
He's saving it.
it's my baby. We're
Yeah.
good. We're
Look what-
buddies.
Look what I
Like,
did. Look what I did. Look what I can do.
I gave it milk, and we're gonna go out and watch a father-son movie.
Oh.
It's a girl. Anyway, just it's one of those things. Like we talk about not intervening. Where should we intervene?
Yeah.
With wildlife. Just because you see it on the side of the highway,
Not in a hunt.
yeah,
Not in a hunt. But yeah, people grow up soft.
Yeah.
You grow up soft.
So the last thing we have here in this folder, and I put it off till last on purpose.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with what we're going to attempt to do this weekend. Idaho salmon were made to move.
Yeah.
So just the really cool picture of
The Chinook salmon.
The Chinook, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to give it a go.
Yeah.
We've talked about it for years,
We have.
and we almost, without knowing it, almost lost a window of opportunity for this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they closed a section of where we're going
Yeah.
starting today.
Yeah.
And then there's still a section of it open through the next few days.
Just the next few days.
And it'll be...
But to just get a line in the water. I just want to get a line in the water during legal Chinook season. I don't have to catch anything. It'd be great if I did.
Yeah.
I don't have to catch anything, but man, that'd be cool.
And there's still a couple of firsts for me. Never salmon fished, but I've never fly fished either.
Yeah.
But I have a fly rod that I set up years ago. Again, anybody who catches this, who knows what they're doing, fly fishing or otherwise, feel free to laugh. I get it. It's a $20 rod I got from Amazon like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I got it home. I learned how to do some knots. I set it all up, and I put it in its little pouch, and I haven't touched it since.
Oh.
I haven't been out with it.
Well, you saw me with mine last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would bring that thing along
Yeah. I'm gonna,
on other occasions and never take it out and never do anything. But when the time is right.
Yeah, so I'm going to see what
nice
I
to
can
have.
do with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my other rod too. Last week was a joke because I brought a fishing rod.
You know what?
That
was fun. That was a fun fishing trip.
I don't think my idea was ill-conceived, but it was not.
No, it was in the right. It was in the right place.
My heart is in the right. So fishing small creeks, which you got me onto.
I love 'em,
Back,
yeah.
Having a big long rod is kind of. There's a disadvantage to
Yeah.
hiking through the brush when you're kind of going from small hole to small hole.
Yeah.
If you have small creeks,
Right.
And so, inspired by a small rod that you had, I saw ice fishing rods. I'm like, oh, that'd be perfect. For those.
I know.
Right?
And I was like, oh yeah, we'll see how that works out. That's a good idea. If it works out, I'm gonna get one. I totally was thinking that.
Yeah. And
It might not work out though.
And I was like, well, I'm going to be bringing my son with me, so I better go get another one of these. That's what I thought before you came over. I was like, I was going to go buy another one. Now, I'm not mad at the purchase. It just has to be in the right venue. I have to have a smaller creek, and it has,
Yeah.
Because
the river changed when we went from one and we crossed the road and went to the other.
Yeah.
After the two rivers join up, it's a different monster.
Different beast.
Yeah.
So I just needed a more full-size rod, and then so I will not make that mistake
But
again.
we caught and ate a few cutthroat.
Yellowstone cutthroat.
Nice cutthroat trout. Oh, they were good too.
I'm not a big fish eater.
Yeah.
But
Me either.
All three of us.
Yeah.
We're grabbing at that fish.
There wasn't much left.
No.
There wasn't much left.
It was good
Yeah.
stuff. So really good time. I appreciated you being able to have that.
Yeah.
You are what they call outdoorsy.
I'm a little outdoorsy.
And you're really good at it. You really are. And
Okay.
I feel bad that
I don't feel like I am, but thank you.
being around you the last couple times fishing.
Yeah.
I haven't caught zilch.
I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I'm like, look, they're right there. Just catch one. I was watching that one fish in that hole. I'm like, just drop it right on his nose. Just drop it right on his nose. He's right there. He's right there.
I'm not blaming you.
I
for
know,
anything.
I know.
I'm wondering what's wrong with me because I learned all of my ability to do this, and I've been in situations where I've been able to yank the fish out. So I'm like, what? Where'd my mojo go?
Yeah.
You know?
It's just a mojo. That's what it is. You need to fish a little bit longer. Don't get discouraged so quick. I really think if we would have taken the time to get to some of the holes that were a little bit further from the road, we'd have slayed them. We'd have murdered them, man.
Yeah.
We'd have murdered them. I didn't get a single bite until I crossed the creek the first time. They crossed the creek, you go, oh, there's fish in here. All right. So then we're going out. So we're going out this week. We're going to go and retrieve some trail cameras that we set more than 1 year ago.
Yeah, in June.
So I can't wait to see what's on those.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm at a loss of words. I'm excited, and I wasn't wanting to go out every single weekend this month.
Yeah.
But when you came to me and you're like, "Hey, how about going up there?" I can't turn that down if I can possibly make it because I like being a part of the closure of something I help initiate. So
it's going to be a good hike. I think it's going to be less of a hike than we had this last week.
Yeah.
That is good news.
That much more familiar with the area,
which will make it less of a hike again.
Yeah.
Big time. So yeah, we've had time to hike that and then sleep on that hike and go, okay, I know what that hike's about.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a much different hike. Should be a lot easier.
And I'll try to keep my grumps in check. Because I still feel really bad about my
you know what? We just
end of the day,
just need food.
Hot tempered.
Cheese and crackers. That's why you see me handing out the cheese and crackers, right?
Yeah.
Here, buddy. No grumpies. No grumpies. Here's some anti-grumpy medication.
Yeah.
Anti-grumpy. Here we go. Pass it out. So, and I still got Cliff Bars and
I went and bought some more stuff. So
and a hoodie. I'll bring an extra hoodie.
you still have like one of my sweaters from times you haven't had. So if I can, if you don't mind,
I
have not received back from you a couple sweaters in our day. for like, I could use some sweater. Do you have anything extra? And
I know one of them.
So, and I think they were both blue.
Yeah,
but,
one of them was blue.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
When I show up and I don't have a sweater,
yeah.
Suddenly you don't have anything.
I didn't.
Just kidding.
I didn't have anything. I felt awful because it got cold.
Well, we managed it. My son had an extra blanket, and that really helped on the morning. But it was just like, it's, God, how do I forget? Like, I have a particular hoodie that I use. It's that camo one from Cabela's.
Yeah.
That's my go camping
it's
hoodie.
my outdoor. I can wipe my nose on this a million times hoodie.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about this hoodie. All my boogers blend in because it's camouflage.
Couldn't even see that, did you? For later.
I love it. All right.
Well, I think that brings us to a close. We're pretty much
How we doing?
56.
Oh, perfect. Well, stay tuned. We're going to try for some chinook. We should have some really cool trail cam pictures and or video for you
if
next week.
If we're able to get any spot of the elk that I saw. I know you said you don't remember seeing many, but the elk that I remember seeing were just big. And we put one of these cameras, and I hope it's still there, right at a wall.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping.
Yeah. So we'll see. 40 days and 40 nights is all you have left. Don't skip leg day.
Be well. Stay awesome. Cheers.
Goodbye.